Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being early. Hey.
Good morning.
We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. We're just preparing some things behind the scenes. Glad to have you all this morning.
Michelle, how's life in Chicago? Everybody good there?
Yes, except there's no baseball going on at Wrigley Field.
Isn't that sad? You know, I grew up in Chicago on the north side of Chicago and used to cut out of schools and kind of do a Ferris Bueller every once in a while and head to the games with my buddies, and I miss it.
Right. I'm sure you do. Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting what they're proposing for Major League Baseball this year. I think it makes sense. It'll be safe for the players. It'll be sad we can't go there. And
yeah.
You know, just the other day I walked over to Wrigley Field and just walked around the whole ballpark, you know, just to get that feeling, that nostalgic feeling.
So sad. It's really, really sad.
It really is. So I think, yeah, and of course here in the city, it's been a lockdown. So it's straight out of a movie. I mean, it's a ghost town. There's no traffic. It's nothing like you would ever see for downtown Chicago this time of year. It's not good. So looks like we got a lot of people joining us so far. Thanks everyone. Hey, Bruce from New Hampshire. Thanks for giving us a sound and video check. See, they've learned. I'm always asking them to give me that check-in. So yeah.
Good to have people supporting us and keeping us on track.
Absolutely. Hi, Michelle Roy. I just saw your chat. Everyone's very excited to see you this morning, Brad.
Oh, wow. They don't know who I am.
Of course. Right? Well, it doesn't look like the Facebook live stream is working, but we'll just kind of let it ride, and this is being recorded otherwise. But well, good morning everyone at RE/MAX INTEGRA and RE/MAX in general. For those of you that are joining us from other regions, we are all one. We're one big family. So welcome. My name is Michelle Hoyt, and I am a regional trainer for RE/MAX INTEGRA. And I have a very special guest today who I'm going to let introduce himself here in just a second. And it is 9 o'clock Central, it's 10 o'clock Eastern, and for him, it's 8 a.m. So we're especially grateful that he's joining us this morning. So before we get started here, as you know, and I think you're all understanding the way Zoom works and how these webinars work, we had hoped to be streaming this live on our Facebook page, but there are some technical issues right now. And Brad said he experienced some issues yesterday as well. So we are recording this, and this will be shared afterwards. We will share it on our Facebook page. We will also share it on YouTube and in a follow-up email. So as you know, you have the ability to chat with us and ask questions. I do ask, if you don't mind, to put your questions in the Q&A folder. So look at the bottom of your screen, it says Q&A. I already see some messages and comments coming in there. Brad and I can see those. And hello, Dan Bertelson. He wants to know if it's snowing in Denver. Really? Says the Wisconsin boy.
No snow, but I did get your voicemail this morning. It was good to hear your voice, buddy.
Yeah, so it's good to have you all this morning. But yeah, please type your questions in the Q&A box. So as we go through this, and Brad's going to share a lot with us, we're very grateful. We will stop and pause and ask him questions. Now, we had set up this series to be 30 minutes. However, we are going to run this an hour because, first of all, we're very excited to have Brad with us. And what I want to do is just quickly talk a little bit about what our Tech Tuesdays are going to look like. So starting today, Cinco de Mayo, welcome everyone. We're going to talk today with Brad about video scripts and touches, what he and his agents are doing in today's climate, and more importantly, what they were already doing it's just natural to them, and they're going to continue to do after we make it through all of this. Over the course of the next several weeks, you see all the different topics we're going to feature, and once you register, you're signed up for all of them. So you will get reminders every Tuesday about them. And I'm going to be featuring a different RE/MAXer every single week. So I look forward to hosting these and bringing these to you. So without further ado, I'm going to have our very special guest introduce himself. So welcome everyone to Brad Whitehouse. I saw Brad on a webinar with BombBomb a couple weeks ago and was really impressed and appreciative that he was willing to share with the RE/MAX network all of the great things he's doing in video. So Brad, please tell us all about yourself.
Good morning, guys. It is a privilege to be here. I'm very thankful for this. And yeah, thanks for acknowledging that it's 8 a.m. here in Denver, although I will tell you with 4 kids at home starting school right around this time, it's not all that much of a hassle to get out and get into my office. So thankful to be here with you guys. Yeah, I am from Denver. Actually grew up in the Chicagoland area and came out to Denver in '91, I guess it was, just to ski and go to school and have fun, and ended up meeting my wife and did a real estate class my junior year in college and got licensed the summer before my senior year, and jumped into RE/MAX just a few years after graduation. Was in new home sales for 2.5 years. Jumped into RE/MAX in 99, spring of 99. So I guess 21 years in the network right now, and just love it. I really have never done anything other than real estate. So I've owned my franchise for about 15 years, going on 15 years. And as the screen shows, we've got 9 offices and about 450 agents. So that's me.
Very, very impressive. And for referrals, you can see Brad's contact information there. So please send them his way. I know a lot of you have clients that are moving to Colorado for all the reasons that Brad talked about, having relocated from the Midwest himself. So thank you so much for being here with us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take the screen share off because we want to feature Brad and let him talk. So this is his hour. But so let's start with you when it comes to real estate. So you did tell us a little bit about your story, but more importantly, how did you get RE/MAX Professionals to grow the way it has and get it to the 9 locations? And I know you have partners, but please share with us how, because I know there's a lot of broker owners on here that would love to know.
Sure. So we actually bought the franchise in 2006, we bought the franchise, but it was founded in 1983. So it was a strong Denver franchise when we bought it, and it was four offices and about 150 agents, and just one of the top brokerages in Denver. We bought the franchise, as I mentioned, in 2006, and it was nothing but blue sky, right? Nothing could possibly go wrong after 2006. Unfortunately, the market didn't necessarily agree with that, and the market sort of took a nosedive, as we all know. And that was a scary time for us as new broker owners, and we were excited and fired up about the balloon, and just were not willing to kind of sit back and ride out the Great Recession. So we really started looking for opportunities, and I think very similar to the opportunities that we're going to see in this market. There are a lot of brokerages, a lot of agents that simply won't survive this, primarily because of the conversation we're having today. They're just not communicating. They're kind of sticking their heads in the sand. They're trying to ride it out and think, man, I'll get back to business when the market reopens. And I think that's a huge mistake. So because of that, there were a lot of brokerages that just didn't really have the same level of enthusiasm that we had. And we started acquiring brokerages. And so that was our strategy around growth. So we went from 4 offices in 2006 to now we're at 9 offices and about 450 agents. One of those is actually a team that opened their own office. So first team location. So we're really excited about that as well.
That's exciting. So yeah, I mean, it's very impressive. So congratulations. And that's the right approach to take. Just because everyone says that it's a bad economy, just because things are happening, like you, I was in the home building industry and left that around 08. I gave it my best shot, and now here I am in real estate. So it's definitely, you just have to keep moving forward, right?
Well,
very important.
Totally. I think that what we kind of forget is that, when we get stressed out, we think transactionally, right? We think about our buyers and our sellers. And when our buyers and sellers can't be out showing homes, we think, well, I'm just, my business is on hold for a while. What we forget is the vast majority of our business is really more relational than it is transactional. And if we do a really good job on the relational side of things, the result of that is a ton of opportunity to help people buy and sell real estate. So this is a time when we can be doing the vast majority of what we should be doing, just knowing that it may not result immediately in an opportunity to help people buy and sell, just because of the fact that in a lot of markets they can't. But as soon as the market turns back on, man, those opportunities will pay off for sure.
Absolutely. So Brad, can you pinpoint maybe an exact year or time or date or month when you started incorporating video into your business as well as your agents?
Well, no, I can't, to tell you the truth. I can tell you that I was at a tech sort of a conference in Denver, and I couldn't tell you what year it was. It was before we bought the franchise, so it had to have been somewhere in the early 2000s. And I saw up on a panel a group of people, and they started talking about this crazy product that was in churches and different industries, and it was called BombBomb. And these guys were just kind of feeling dipping their toes in the real estate water. And so I went back and I talked to a guy who's now a good friend of mine, Darren Dawson. Yeah. And Darren and I talked, and I said, man, I think this could be big in real estate. So he and I worked really, really closely together. And I'll be totally honest with you. I always knew for years, I've known that video was an important communication tool, but even I didn't utilize it the way that I should have over the years. It probably wasn't until the past really 4 years that we really started using video and aggressively seeking opportunities to use video to communicate and to scale our communication, which is what one of the most powerful parts of video is. Absolutely.
So how did you get your agents to embrace it? Because I know inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. That is a work in progress. So I will tell you that one of the things that we did is we hired a video production team to come into RE/MAX Professionals once a month. And, we really pushed two different philosophies in communication. One is the relational side, and I appreciate you, I care about you. And that's more Buffini's, relational items of value, that type of stuff. But the other critical aspect of communication is the expertise, the market expertise, right? Our agents have been really, really strong on the relational stuff, communicating how much they care, but we hadn't really done a great job of demonstrating and communicating our market knowledge. So we hired this video crew to come into our Highlands Ranch office, and I think you might have one of the videos actually, but they started doing market update videos. They set up a teleprompter, and they did all of this stuff to make it really, really easy to demonstrate the market knowledge. And over time, we've gotten to about, I think we're at close to 100 agents that every single month, yeah, there it is, that do this type of a video.
Okay, well, we'll make this bigger and play this. Let me know you can hear this.
Hi, it's Brad Whitehouse with RE/MAX Professionals. And as I do each month, I'm here with your Metro Denver market update for March of 2020. Spring is arriving and the market is strong. Despite near record snowfall in February, buyers closed on over 3,400 homes last month. That's up over 3% from January. But here's the thing, the strength of sales taking place right now has created something unique in the market. Over the past 20 years, the inventory of new homes for sale between January and February has always risen. This February, inventory actually fell by almost 3% compared to January. And as mortgage rates approach record lows, even more buyers are looking to take advantage of these rates and buy a home. In fact, as I predicted last month, buyers already understand the impact of this situation because the median days a home was on the market fell by more than 50% in February, from 27 days in January to just 12 days in February. All this together means the market is tighter than usual, and any concerns about COVID-19 haven't shown any effect in the market. We're seeing multiple offers in some price ranges, and buyers are having to put together a stronger plan to get that perfect home. So here's the bottom line. If you're a buyer, call me, and I can help you create a plan that will give you an advantage in this market and get you the right price on the right home. If you're a seller, now's the time to get your home on the market. I can help ensure you're getting the most out of this market opportunity. Now keep watching because here's our market stats for February, and then give me a call to talk about how I can help you achieve your real estate goals this year.
Very good. So absolutely. That was great that you had that message in there, very positive, but still addressing what's going on today.
Yeah, well, we had no idea that made sense at the time. However, as we know, things have changed drastically since the beginning of March. So all the more important reason to be communicating using video and getting these constant updates out there on what's going on. So anyway, that is actually a lot more simple than we thought. You know, in our minds, we were thinking, man, to get a video crew and to get this all set up, that's just too much work. We're just a real estate brokerage. We reached out to a buddy who was kind of in videography, and he said, oh, I know a guy that can bring in a teleprompter. And we just set it up. We got a group of agents. We said, hey, if we do this every month, it'll be, you know, I think we can get it down to about $100 a month to create that type of content. And that group has just grown and grown and grown. And so the price of that has gone down per agent. And it's actually become a very simple thing. I mean, reading a teleprompter is not that hard. So it's become a really popular tool.
And do you use that videographer for other projects like listing videos or any other community type projects?
Yeah, so you can. I mean, that starts to get more expensive, right? I mean, so that team, that videography team, will go out and they'll produce everything, and they have for agents. They've done sort of community, you know, highlighting different communities and things like that. Those types of projects become really expensive. So we've done some work. We have a couple agents that are really good just using, you know, even just simple iPhone editors. We're encouraging agents to go out using their iPhone. I think a lot of what we're going to talk today about is just more the human element of communication. And I do think that there's value in, you know, that piece is great. I really love that market update piece, but it is very, very scripted, right? And so it holds its place, it's important. But if we aren't balancing that out with a more human touch, human communication, then we're going to lose that relational side of our business. So we really encourage agents, even when it comes to virtual open houses and you know, video walkthroughs on their homes, just hold your camera. It may be a little clunky, it may move a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, I do think that there is a place for more of that, you know, personal touch, human element, not always so scripted.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you. How does it feel watching yourself on video now versus when you started doing it?
I still watch these back and I go, my goodness, is that how I really look? And is that how I really sound? And my buddy and partner here at RE/MAX Professionals, Mike Burns, says, yeah, you really are that fat. I'm like, well, okay, thanks. I mean, that's great.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean, so here's the deal. Anytime we leave a voice message or, you know, when we record our voicemail on our phone, we listen back and we go, oh, that's awful. And we do it again. And we do it again and again, thinking that just sounds so bad. But you know what? I guess the thing that's changed for me is just this reality that, thanks, Dan. Yeah, he's a real good friend. The reality for me is just getting to the point where I realize, you know, there is a place for the scripted side, and you do want to be professional and you don't want to read that well. But there's also a place to stumble over your words and just have more of a human type conversation. And I think that's where I've become more comfortable, is just realizing that, you know, I think video is just sort of a wall between me and the person that I'm talking to. And so I just need to get comfortable with the fact that I'm just having a conversation with somebody. And I still stumble all the time.
And we all do. And sometimes those are the best ones. Well, I've got one of your agents' videos that I will queue up for everyone. Okay. And I'll let you talk through it, your agent, Dean. So let me go there and let's get out of here. And this one is the first one.
RE/MAX Professionals from down the street. Hey, wanted to reach out to you today. It's May 4th, so May the 4th be with you. I know you guys are huge Star Wars fans. I am too. I've actually got my Yoda sweatshirt on today. Wanted to let you know, I swung by your house a little bit ago, and I know with everything going on in the world, it's a little crazy right now, and we're all stuck at home. So I dropped off a couple of Disney gift cards for you guys so that you guys could pay for some Disney Plus while you're at home. And just wanted to reach out and let you know I was thinking about you. So if there's ever anything you need, you know, reach out to me. Obviously we're just down the road, but hopefully you guys are doing well, and we'll talk to you soon. See you around.
Very good. And
hey, Kevin and Trish, this is Dane Rickard with RE/MAX Professionals from down.
Sorry, I got one more, and that is this one.
Oh yeah.
So let's play this.
Hi, Maura. This is Dane Rickard with RE/MAX Professionals. Hey, I just left you a voicemail, but I wanted to shoot you over a quick email and an introduction and put a face with the name. This is Dane Rickard, and I got your information from your daughter, Katie. And I'm good friends with Katie and Jesse and helped them buy their house out here in Littleton a few years back. And Katie mentioned that you may be looking to move to Colorado, and I wanted to let you know that I'm here to help you. So let me know if you have any questions and what I can help you get the ball rolling on and get started with, and we'll be in touch. All of my contact information is down below in my signature. Feel free to call me, text me, email me, whatever works for you, and look forward to being in touch. Thanks so much and have a great day.
And there's something that's key here that I'd love for you to talk about is the fact that Dane, that was an introduction he made. And I think a lot of agents are hesitant. They think they get an online lead or they get a referral and they have to either text or leave a message. And sending a video, what better way to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really powerful. And you'll notice you saw two different things there. I mean, one, Dane was a little bit more dressed up. He was in his office and his assistant was sitting behind him. So that's a little bit more professional, but I love the first one where he's in a baseball cap and he's in a hoodie. And, you know, I mean, I'm not I don't always dress up. I partially because of the fact that I love that people, you know, most of our relationships happen in a setting where they don't see us in a suit and tie, right? I mean, they don't see us in that environment. So if we're going to connect on that human level, we've got to feel comfortable connecting in more of a casual type environment. So I just love that demonstration. There's certainly a place to be dressed professionally, but there's also a place to be casual in our communication and our conversation. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. So here's a $1 million question. What mistakes have you made on video, whether it's in the past or recently, as well as your agents?
Yeah. So I think probably the biggest mistake that I've made is overthinking video and overthinking what the message needs to be and how I need to say it and who am I going to send it to. And then I don't do anything, right? I mean, I remember years ago when I was starting, I was thinking, I'd really like to do a just listed sold card, but should it be glossy or should it be color? Should it be black and white? How many people should I send it to? And I overthought it to the point where it never happened. And now I think that I'm doing the same thing or have done the same thing with video. So I think the biggest mistake is just overthinking it and not doing anything at all. There's certainly I'm sure that there are times when I've sent out messages that maybe wouldn't have been an appropriate message at the time or to a client that I don't really know actually, but yeah, I think if we just communicate with a simple message, a simple hello, how are you doing type message, I think we're going to be okay.
Sure, absolutely. So it's a lot about reassurance, and I like how you said earlier about being human. So what are some of the interactions that you've had with your specific clients? Because I know you're a busy broker owner, but you are still conducting business like a realtor would. And you know, that's something that's important to stay in touch with your database. So what are some of the things that seem to be getting a response right now?
Well, so it's interesting because for the first time ever, we have this common thread with everybody on the planet, right? I mean, we have never had a time in my life that we've had this common thread that we're all going through something together. So it has become really, really easy just to reach out to anybody and just check in and say, how are you doing? I was thinking about you. It's been a long time. Are you guys doing okay? Right? I mean, I don't love the idea, and maybe back to your question about mistakes, maybe the one mistake that I've made in the past is always trying to spin in the real estate conversation, right? I always want to get to kind of, have you been thinking about buying or selling, or do you know of somebody that's thinking about buying or selling? And I think right now, especially, it's important just to reach out, right? Just to communicate. And I think if we have consistent sort of automation in our prospecting and marketing, then it's okay to reach out and just say, how are you doing? Because we know that once or twice a month, they're going to get something of value, a Buffini type item, or they're going to get a market update. So that message will be sent. But I do think that video and the one-to-one communication should really just be more along the lines of, hey, I was just thinking about you guys. I tell you what, man, I wish that I were better at identifying who are our frontline workers through this pandemic, who are our first responders, who are our nurses and doctors and anybody in the medical field. If I could go through my database and figure out who those people are and just say thanks. And by the way, anybody that's out there, if you are, or your spouse or somebody that you know is, thank you so much. This is a crazy, crazy time. And I think it's a great time for all of us just to be saying thank you to those people.
I think that's powerful. You're absolutely right. And I definitely ditto from me on all of those comments to those of you that are close to healthcare workers. So what's interesting right now is I've had a lot of conversations with agents and brokers about the shift that's happened with the existing sellers and how they're showing their properties and how much more we're relying on virtual tools more than ever to show those properties. What type of conversations and communications are you doing with your clients now to kind of reassure them? Maybe you've had some that have been frightened by all of this and maybe thought about pulling their home off the market. Share with us what you're doing in that world.
Yeah, so any opportunity to be, to create sort of a video experience walkthrough on a home or walkthrough on a open house that you would have held and now you need to hold virtually. I think that's really powerful stuff. And to be able to share those properties in a way where you just have the ability to say, hey, everybody, it's Brad Whitehouse. I'm here at 1234 Main Street. And I just wanted to give you a glimpse of this home at a time that it's really hard to get in and look at homes. So come walk through this house with me. My advice on that would be, again, be simple with it. Don't overthink it. But Facebook Live is huge. I love Facebook Live. I love BombBomb. BombBomb's a little bit different because it's a platform that you send it directly to a group of people. One of the sort of BombBomb hacks that I train our agents to remember is the fact that every BombBomb email is actually a web page. It is its own standalone web page. Right. So if you were to create a video in BombBomb, a video walkthrough in BombBomb with some information at the bottom of the page, maybe with a link to the property, single property website or something like that. And then you send that BombBomb email out. You can also take that page, you can actually capture the URL for that page and post it to your social media and put it in your email signature line. And so you can keep that as an ongoing reference for people to view that property. BombBomb and social media are huge tools right now.
That's excellent. And what's interesting is, in case you don't know, those of you that use BombBomb know there's an option to put reply with video on your messages. And go ahead and put that on there. You might be surprised how many of your clients will come back with a video. I think you should hear my family members are calling me going, okay, how do you do this? How do you use Zoom? And those that know that that's what I do every day, everyone's embracing this form of technology, this form of communication. And those are the little things you have to do to engage them and get them involved, right?
Yeah. One more thing that I've done that's really cool, it's been a little bit of a hit, is I've tried to every Thursday interview a small business in Denver, just a friend that is a small business, to support small business through this. Yes. And we've been doing Zoom webinars where there's two of us just chatting about their business and how their business is going and what we can do to support them. And I try to keep it to like 10 minutes. But that's been a really powerful thing, not only for my communication, but also demonstrating that I care about local businesses. And it's just simple. It's just this type of a Zoom webinar that we stream to Facebook. And that's been a really popular way to reach out and just kind of demonstrate that I care about the community.
When Facebook stream is working.
When Facebook stream is working.
Yes, we both couldn't get it to work yesterday. Yesterday I got it to work. I don't know what happened, but those are the things you have to have a backup plan for. Then you record it on Zoom and then you post it like we're going to do with this session. So for sure. So that's fantastic. So when you stream it to Facebook, do you tag the local business? You tag their business page? Okay. Good.
Not only do I tag the person, but also I identify, you tag a location as their business. So in the Facebook world, it looks like we're at their location.
Right, absolutely. And just a reminder, everyone, please ask questions. So we are going to stop and do a Q&A session here, but we're going to continue to get a lot more great information from Brad. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, for the benefit of the broker owners and managers on this session, how are you using video? And overall, what's your approach to recruiting right now in today's climate? Because it's not a typical environment, but yet it is something that you can be very successful at right now, and some have been. So please share with us what you're doing.
Yeah, so honestly, the message is very similar. I think reaching out to agents on a very human level and just ask them how they're doing. I mean, this is a tough time for everybody in the real estate world, right? It's hard when your business, when you're forced to take a pause, right? Or slow down significantly, or in some markets, even just flat out stop, right? So just reaching out and saying, hey, I was just checking in and wanted to see how you're doing. This is really tough. Is there anything that I can do for you? I can't remember who it was, but it may have been Buffini that said, be their broker before you're their broker, right? I mean, be there as a support mechanism before you're actually their broker. So I just, my emphasis right now is just trying to have a relationship as much with my agents as I do with potential recruits, because far and away, I mean, absolutely far and away, the best source of growth at RE/MAX Professionals is our current agent base, right? If we can make raving fans out of our current agents, then the recruiting opportunities will follow. So while yes, we do reach out, we have our prospecting list, we are trying to communicate, man, the most powerful thing we can do is just knock the cover off the ball when it comes to supporting our current agents, our existing agents.
Absolutely. And you said some really incredible things on the BombBomb webinar I saw you on some of the, how you're working with your agents right now and not able to be with them, but how, from a coaching perspective and guidance, what are some of the key things that you're focused on right now?
Yeah, so once a week, Mike and Alan and I get on a webinar just like this, and we stream it to our Facebook group, our closed agent Facebook group, and it's just a chat. I mean, we have a subject that we kind of start with and kick it off with, but undoubtedly it always kind of veers down a different path as agents start tossing questions at us. And a lot of those questions have been, you know, around how do I show properties? How do I list properties? What can I and can't I do? But it's powerful. I mean, it's really, really good for us to be able to communicate in that way. At any given time, we'll have upwards of 200 agents watching, and then that lives, as this one will, that lives forever on our Facebook feed, so agents can go back and watch it.
Right.
I think the thing that we've learned is we can scale our communication now in ways that we never could before. I mean, I've communicated more with agents while I've been stuck at home in a pandemic than I ever did when I was able to get out to the offices and get out and see people. I mean, it was impossible for me to have a conversation, you know, virtually even with 200 agents prior to really utilizing some of these tools. So I've learned that we need to figure out ways to scale our communication.
Absolutely. And I like how you, on your videos, you say, I'm coming to you from Studio B. You want to share with everyone what Studio B is?
Studio B is my basement. Very, very professional, high tech. Yeah, it's me with, I actually should take a picture from behind what it looks like. I mean, it is two desk lamps on either side of my computer, sitting on a little side table. And if I would veer the computer this way a little bit, most days you could see my 13-year-old son, or at least his Xbox setup and his stuff everywhere. But it's funny, I kind of stress out before we go live, and I go back and fix things and set things up just inside of my camera view.
Sure.
So yeah. Studio B is my basement, and if you could only see the whole picture.
Well, thank goodness for these virtual backgrounds, or you would see my kitchen cabinets right now. So, but I actually have one of your videos from Studio B, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna share that with everyone.
Okay.
And we'll just jump right in. It's this one here.
Oh yeah, see, I'm all dressed up.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
This is going to your agents, right?
Hey, RE/MAX Pros, it's Brad Whitehouse. I hope you guys are doing great. It is Monday evening, coming to you from Studio B, which stands for basement, here in week number 75, or so it seems, of the quarantine. I really hope you guys had a good weekend and were safe and healthy. Couple quick updates from Mike and Alan and I, and a couple suggestions of things we'd like for you to consider for this week ahead. First and foremost, we are going to be doing another Facebook Live webinar this week, but we need a couple suggestions from you. Last week, our discussion was about how to work with your tenants. Great discussion. Between 50 and 100 of you were on the webinar at any given time. And it was awesome. We really appreciate everybody that was able to participate and join in with their questions. But we need some new ideas of topics to discuss this week. So if you have them, shoot them our way, and we'll do our best to incorporate those ideas into our webinar later this week. We also talked a lot last week about utilizing video, how you can utilize video in order to communicate effectively with your sphere and people you care about. So I've included a couple links below. First is a link from Amy Berglund. Amy did a great job of creating a live open house on one of her listings. So I've got a link below.
So what I'd rather have you live and in person explain than you on video, since we don't get you very often. So that's really good. I will stop that share and let you kind of finish up some of the main points that you covered on that video.
Yeah, so again, I mean, just same stuff we've been talking about. Amy Berglund is one of our top agents up in the city. And Amy has done a fantastic job of utilizing video. Every listing that she's got, she does video walkthroughs. She posts those to Facebook. She's doing some dark posting, which I understand a little bit about social media dark posting, but not a lot. But she's really taken it to another level as far as scaling her video communication. The other thing that she has done and will continue to do once we're out of this pandemic is she kills it in open houses. She actually invites small businesses into her open houses. So she might have a restaurant or any one of a dozen small businesses that she works with actually set up shop in her open houses, and then they invite their clients into the open house, and she sort of takes advantage of their reach, their social reach as well. So yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of opportunity when it comes to demonstrating our value, demonstrating who we are, as long as we're brave enough just to jump into video. And guys, I would also say, don't be intimidated by tools like BombBomb and Facebook Live. And I mean, if it means just taking a video on your phone, just opening the camera on your phone and taking a quick video and saying, hey, I was thinking about you, I hope you're doing great, and just texting that to someone, that's awesome. I mean, that's a great start. Just, I guess the advice that I would give is just do it. It is important. Just get after it.
No, I absolutely couldn't agree more. When I see birthdays on Facebook of friends or family, I've been texting a video message instead. I'm trying to be a little bit different about it. I organized a family Zoom. We've never done anything like that. So my niece is in California. I've got my sister in Florida. So it's all about that. It's just staying in touch. And then everybody was excited. Let's do this every week. And
yeah.
And it's something we should have been doing before, but there's so much going on in the world that we took for granted. Like just going out to eat would be just a beautiful thing right now.
It's so true.
Getting a Starbucks. Share with us, Brad, what's going on in Colorado in the world of showings. And there's been a lot of talk about what's essential business, what's non-essential. And it seems that fortunately real estate has been deemed an essential business across the US. But share with us what's going on in your local area and what you can and can't do and what some of the new measures are that are in place.
Well, it's super confusing right now because there isn't one broad stroke measure in the entire Denver metro area. It really is broken down from county to county, right? So which makes it hard for RE/MAX professionals because we span, 20 miles from north to south across 11 different counties. So we've had to communicate really consistently as things change from county to county with what you can and can't do. But it varies everything from, we have one county that still is on a lockdown. I mean, actually, in that county, if the property is vacant and only if the property is vacant can you show it, right? Then we have counties that are wide open. I mean, you can list properties, you can sell properties, you can have photographers and inspectors and everybody in properties. So it really varies. We were down at one point, we were down 98% on our showing. So, I mean, essentially zero.
Right.
And it lasted a couple weeks. And then on the 7th, I believe, the 27th of April, the governor reopened Colorado. But again, that's where the counties jumped in and said, okay, well, the governor says Colorado's open, but county to county, they have different rules. So we are back. I mean, we're back in business, but we have to be very careful. We have to be very conscious of what we're doing, what county we're in, taking care of our clients, doing our very, very best to not only be as safe as we possibly can be, but just to respect the wishes of not only people on the other side of the transaction, sellers or buyers on the other side of the transaction, but our own clients as well when it comes to their concerns and how they feel they need to be cautious of their safety.
For sure. And then I assume your agents are probably stocking up on masks and rubber gloves and sanitizer and
we can't get enough of it. I mean, we put in an order for, I think we're up to about 1,300 RE/MAX branded masks now. And just when we think we've ordered enough, we have requests in and those are gone. So we're trying to keep up with that demand. But yeah, I mean, everybody is doing their best to stay on top of that stuff.
Right, absolutely. And it's nice to see the social media push that's out there with all of the RE/MAX agents across the network with stay at home, be safe, and just, sending the right message. is really important right now. So I think everyone's being very socially conscious of what they post, what they say. It's a fine line. No one wants to be too insensitive or too pushy when it comes to sales and that sort of thing, for sure. So it's good to know. So what do you think real estate will look like after all of this?
Well, you know, I think eventually we will get back to a normal level of business. I actually believe in Colorado, our numbers won't be that far off of 2020 2019 when we get to the end of 2020.
Sure.
However, I do think the business will look a lot different. I mean, I think we would be silly if we don't take away some of the lessons we've learned about communication in this time. I mean, we are communicating better now than we ever have before, and we need to remember that and take advantage of that. So I think this tool, Zoom, will play a critical role. I see agents using Zoom through different points in the transaction to be able to connect with clients, especially out-of-state clients. For me to be able to sit down in a property and have a conversation with a buyer that's under contract on a property or say a new build, and actually have a conversation while I'm in the property on Zoom and be able to walk around. I think that this stuff is critical, especially our ability to scale this communication, right? To be able to communicate with hundreds and hundreds of people using video, whereas before we were too intimidated or just didn't know how to do it.
Absolutely. And you and your agents have done an outstanding job embracing that. So congrats. Let's go ahead and take some questions. So
Sure.
I'm going to start with the chat box and then we'll go to the Q&A box. So see what we have here. Just some shout outs from New England. Hello, everyone. Let's see. So Jennifer from Wausau, Wisconsin, Mrs. Denver. So yeah. And yeah, absolutely. So Annette Donica, who's a broker owner in Indiana, says, could we get a link to one of the agent's open house or home tour video that Brad just mentioned? So Brad, if you wouldn't mind, share that with me and I'll send it out to everyone on here. That would be great.
Yeah, you bet. It's actually in that video. It's in that BombBomb video with me in my basement. There are links below that to Amy's open house virtual tour and I think maybe to the business interview that I did.
Okay, I will send that out to everyone then. Thank you.
Sure.
Tracy says, where did you buy the RE/MAX masks from? And is there a minimum or maximum for the order?
That is a great question, Tracy. And I will have to have Kim on our staff get that information out to you guys as to where she ordered those. They ended up being, based on the quantity that we bought, I think we ended up buying about 800 of them in the first order. They ended up being about $4 a mask. But I will get that information out. I do think, unfortunately, the delay on this next order was about 2 weeks to get them. So,
right.
So yeah, we'll get that information out.
I tried to order a Cubs mask and it was a month out. We're also spoiled by Amazon. No one wants to wait more than a couple of days for anything. So it looks like Dave Goebel, who's a broker owner in Indiana, mentioned Blink Swag as a mask vendor. He said it's 3 weeks out though.
Yep, I've heard Blink Swag is great.
Okay, great, good to know. So let's see what else we've got in the Q&A box. So we are, let's see. Dan Bertelson has plenty of comments, as always. Face with name always reduces, no answer, no replies. Great video. By the way, I have a question for you, Brad. What is your open rate when you send those videos out to your agents, since you have so many?
Yeah, so our open rates are typically in the 50% range, 50 to 60% open rate range, which is great. I mean, you know, that as far as open rates are concerned, that's really, really strong. The concern that I have with that is that means that 40% of our agents aren't seeing the video at all. Not only are they seeing it and not watching the whole thing, they just aren't opening the video at all. So whether it's going to spam or whatever, I'm not sure. So there is still a huge burden on us to make sure that we are connecting with everybody one-to-one, so we know we're having this type of conversation, right? That's why I love the meetings. I love Zoom meetings, so I know I can see 27 people and I know who I'm talking to, as opposed to just streaming a webinar where I can't really see who's engaged, or I can't actually engage with people necessarily. So yeah, it's somewhere between 50 and 60%.
Okay, yeah, and that definitely would be challenging, but I'm sure you have agents that much prefer a phone call. And they just want a text message and they just want to do their own thing. So, and then the same thing with clients. No one will ever get 100% open rate, but it's much more powerful. What the length of the video to clients especially, wouldn't you agree, would need to be pretty short, maybe 30 seconds or less?
Yeah. Yeah, depending on the message, I would say the very longest video that I would ever send out is 2 minutes. And that would be more of a one-to-one message with something that they're waiting for, with information that they're waiting on, or a reply or something like that. But yeah, if it's a message that is a first time reach out, just connecting, it's got to be 30 seconds or less.
Absolutely. And like you said, if you're sending a quick, even just a text video to a client just to say, hi, hope you're doing well. And I know some of the agents have been doing things like leaving gifts on the front porches of their clients' doorsteps. And it's just amazing what's going on out there. I saw a story on the news yesterday. There's a principal, and I don't remember what state he was in, that drove to 226 of his students' homes and handed them personally their diplomas. It's one of the best things I've seen since all of this started. So there's just some pretty incredible things going on. All right, so Tim wants to know, and this is, he says, do they compress the videos to send via email? If you could explain how BombBomb works and the embedding. Yep.
Yeah. So BombBomb automatically compresses the videos. It's actually not, you actually aren't sending a video that needs to be downloaded. It's a web page. So when you receive a BombBomb email, BombBomb puts a 3-second loop. So I always wave, or I hold up a sign, or I do something in the first 3 seconds of every video that I send through BombBomb. And the reason is when they open the email, when they see the email in their open box, what they'll see is that loop. So they'll see me waving, and then it repeats that over and over again. So that simple action causes them to be a little bit more intrigued by the video. And then when they click on it, it's actually a link that takes them to a web page that they watch the video in a web page. So through BombBomb anyway, you aren't actually sending a video file that needs to be downloaded and opened. It's really, really cool. You can, if you want to, inside of BombBomb, any video that you create, you can actually go in and download that video, so you have the video file. But BombBomb does a really good job of compressing those videos and making it really easy to watch, both on desktop and on mobile.
Absolutely. And Tim also wanted to know, do you utilize the Remax URLs with your videos? I assume he means the URL shortener tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge tool, Tim. Good job bringing that up. I mean, I love the URL shortener. So inside of Mac Center, it's one of the tiles, and I've sort of tagged it as one of my favorite tiles, but it's just a URL shortener, and it creates an rem.ax/whatever, right? I love it. Most people don't know this, but you can actually customize those URLs so that the URL that it delivers automatically is, rem.ax/Q37526, whatever, it's random. You can customize that. So it can be rem.ax/hey Michelle and Dave, or 1234 Main Street, or whatever you want to, however you want to customize that URL. And I think that's really, really powerful, especially if you're going to put that URL, in your email signature line, if you're going to put it in an email, or if you're going to text it to somebody. I just think that little bit of branding, that rem.ax with a customized something that they relate to, is powerful.
Absolutely. And Laura asks, when you send clients a video, is it pre-recorded, or do you make sure, so you can make sure there's no bloopers?
Well, yeah. I mean, I love one-to-one. I love Zoom. I mean, I love being able to have a conversation with someone. So Michelle, through this process, you and I FaceTimed a couple times. And I just love that. I think there's power in that conversation, that back and forth conversation. So I would actually prefer that in some cases. And then, to be totally honest with you, when I'm communicating with a lot of people, I would much rather just leave a voicemail, rather than actually having the conversation, if I'm totally honest. In which case, in video, yeah, I can record a message on my phone, or a video on my phone, and just text it. I can do the same thing in BombBomb, right? I really, really try to avoid getting into the habit of, I stumbled over my words, so I'm going to go back and do it again. And I said the wrong thing, so I'm going to do it again. Everybody knows that you're not a robot, and they hope to have a personal relationship with you. So I think that in some cases, even stumbling over your words a little bit is okay. I mean, it adds that human element, right? I've never had a conversation with someone, a one-to-one conversation with someone, when I didn't stumble over my words. I'm positive when I watch this back, I'll go, my goodness, did I really say that? And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. So yeah, I mean, there are times when I try to, you know, script things and record things and do it over and over again, but for the most part, I try to make it as human and real as possible.
Absolutely. And Laura, and just so everyone understands, like Brad and I do not work for BombBomb. We are with Remax. And I know that's all we talk about, but we've both been users for many years, and there is a cost to it. You get Remax preferred pricing, but you can get the entire package, and there's already Remax templates and content in there. Generally speaking, around $1,100-1,200 a year. You'll pay for the full system if you want to get the CRM prompt that they have, which is, it's a really good tool as well. And that you can do recruiting campaigns if you're a broker owner. I mean, there's a lot of features in there, but there is a cost. So we just want to make mention of that. But check out, call them and let them know you're with Remax.
Let me say this too. I mean, there isn't anything that BombBomb offers that you can't do on your own, right? I mean, you can do it, guys, but the truth is, if I have to go out and on my own create all of the simplicity that BombBomb causes to happen, especially as you mentioned through prompt. I mean, I get a text once a week that says, hey, it's Dave's birthday next week, and it's the 1-year anniversary of this person's home. And I can just record video after video in prompt. And then on the day that it's appropriate, on a birthday or anniversary of their closing, that video goes out. So I can do all that. I mean, I can schedule that in my CRM. I mean, I don't need BombBomb to do that, but man, does it make it easy.
Absolutely. So John from Indianapolis, Carmel, actually brings up something about, he says he's having issues with the new MacBook Air when recording a video. There seems to be a lag. iPhone obviously doesn't. Now I've experienced that a little bit with Zoom recordings. And because a lot of times I'll take my Zoom recordings and drop them into Camtasia to do some editing or clip or add some annotations. And I've noticed that, and I've had to re-record. And I have a new MacBook Air. So maybe John, you and I could go to the Apple store together or call them. But have you heard about are you a Mac or PC user?
I'm a Mac user for sure. And I did notice some lag in recording BombBomb videos, but I switched over to Chrome. So it may be a Safari versus Chrome thing.
Okay.
And it can just, you know, it can also just be a Wi-Fi thing too. So I don't know the answer to that.
Right. Yeah. And well, I'll actually look into that for you too, John. So I'll reach out to you, but I've experienced that as well. There's a question again. The agent you mentioned, Amy, what is her last name again?
Yeah, her last name is Berglund, Berglund. And I'll make sure we get a link to her open house video.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Brad will send things to me and I'll forward on to everyone else. So someone else is asking for the Remax branded mask link, so we'll get that over. Daisy, broker owner in New England, wants to be included on all the recruiting videos. And she asked a question. I haven't done this. Can you use BombBomb as a group? Now, Daisy, are you saying like a team account? Oh, looks like she did clarify. So can the broker use BombBomb as a team?
Yes, so you can have an account that allows for multiple users. You can have an account that has multiple email signature lines, so you can send out videos that it looks like are coming from different people. I can, you know, if I wanted to help you out, Michelle, and send an email from you, I can approve your email address so the email that I'm sending out looks like it's coming from your email address through BombBomb. So there are ways to do that. I would tell you, well, first of all, I would tell you contact BombBomb. I mean, they're great and they'll help you set up whatever you'd like to set up. There are real advantages to everybody having their own individual account. Prompt, for example, it would be really hard. I can't think of a way to have prompt work if you have multiple users using the same account. Yeah, I would check on that. I do know that there's a team option. I don't have it, but I do know that there's a team option. There's also a way for broker owners to create templates and then download those templates sort of downstream, if you will, to your agents that have accounts under you. So there are a lot of different team type solutions.
Absolutely. Please feel free to ask questions. We got a few more minutes, but while we're waiting for those, I want to mention, so Brad, you talked about on the BombBomb webinar, I thought it really resonated with me because you talked about what should we all, when we look back on this time that we just went through, what should we have been doing with our time and how should we be able to reflect back upon it and I guess feel good about what we accomplished. So I would love for you to share those thoughts with everyone.
You know, it's really more of a personal thing that I really went through, not only professionally, but also personally. Yeah, I've been so blessed over the past couple months because my two kids are, you know, one lived in California in college and one is in Texas in college. And I had 3 weeks where all 6 of us were back under the same roof. And that was time that we weren't planning on, right? I mean, I didn't see that coming. So at some point, I don't remember when it was, but at some point during that time, I looked back and I thought, man, I really hope that I look back over this time and use it well, right? Both with my wife and my kids. And I really hope that I utilize and identify what are the benefits of this time that I have. And then I started thinking professionally as well. I mean, I don't want to waste this. It's so easy for us to sort of fall into this trap of, well, I can't work, so I'll just get stuff done around the house, or I get complacent and I don't remain effective and productive. So I really looked at this time as, like I said, sometimes in some ways we can't be transactional. We have to be relational. So I want to look back at each day and say, all right, I used that time well. I mean, I connected with 15 people today. I certainly have the time to connect with 15 people today. So I print out my CRM, I print out my agent list, and I just start going through it and identifying, all right, what can I do today to be able to look back and say, I won the day, right? Or this week, did I win this week? And just identifying goals in that way.
I think that's great. And more importantly, so everyone has time now to kind of focus on their business. Like there's always this saying, you know, do you work on your business or do you work in your business? And at times you do both. So what advice would you give everyone so if let's say you're developing some really good discipline habits right now, how do you continue that? Because that's what agents struggle with when they get back out there, and what's going to happen is there's going to be an explosion, the weather's going to break, and how do they maintain those good habits?
Right. Well, it's a really good question. I think you need to take a really close look at your personal business and what you want your business to look like. What are the tools that you want to utilize? I saw as you were scrolling down and looking at the weeks ahead in this webinar, one of them is Photify. I mean, that's a great example. Pick a product a week, right? And identify what product this week do I want to master? Is it BombBomb? Is it Photify? Is it First, the First IO app, which is amazing, right? I mean, we have so many cool tools that we look back on and we go, yeah, I'll get to that, or I don't know about that. But now we have time to really invest in it. And I wouldn't say, don't try to bite it off all in one bite. Pick one a week. And if for the next 4 weeks you do that and you get disciplined around, all right, this week I'm really going to understand, the Boost CRM, or I'm really going to understand the First app, or Photify, or whatever it is. Man, when was the last time you looked back over 4 weeks and you can say, I really embraced and implemented 4 new tools in my toolbox that I'm going to utilize now moving forward in my business? You don't want to get to when the floodgates open and realize, oh yeah, that Photify thing, I should have learned that, but now I'm showing houses and now I have listings, and it becomes really difficult. So identify if you realize that I have 2 weeks left or a week left, what are the things that you want to focus on this week to make sure you look back and say, man, that was time used well.
Right, absolutely. And I think for the most part, we're all very, very active people. And it's been extremely challenging to just sit still, but focusing on the right things at the right time can definitely help keep the momentum going in that area for sure. So here's an interesting question for you. There's so many webinars that are coming at us right now. This is one of them. So I know that we'll get a lot of playbacks after this as well. And we thank all of you for joining us today, because how do you make sense? How do you weed through all the noise of, probably I'm getting 10 a day right now. Would you say that's pretty comparable to what you're getting as far as being invited to webinars? How do they make sense of what to watch, how to get that information to sort of translate into their own language where they see, okay, this is something that is going to get me more business. This is something that I need. Yeah. And how do they pick and choose?
Yeah, well, identify and recognize that you don't need all of it. I mean, you can't possibly implement all of it. So decide leading into a week, what is it that I'm going to focus on this week? Is it communication? Is it organization? Is it, my website? Or what is it this week that I want to focus on? So that when something is thrown at you, you have the ability to respectfully say, hey, I appreciate that. no thanks, because this week, this is my focus, or this month, this is my focus. Do not get lost in this like constant barrage of things coming at you. And also recognize that just because this webinar is held today doesn't mean that you can't watch it next week, right? Organize yourself well enough to say, all right, if communication is on my roadmap for next week, I know that Michelle put this interview out with Brad. I'm gonna find that on Monday of next week, and I'm gonna watch it and try to pick up a couple ideas. But this isn't the week. This week I'm working on my CRM, right? So I need to dive into RE/MAX University, and I need to find a video on how to utilize a CRM. So.
Yep, great advice. And I will tell you, I watched back the webinar I first saw you on last night because I had it playing in the background and then you get distracted. But I would recommend just creating a Google Sheet and just drop links in of webinars that you know you would like to watch at some point, but just keep yourself organized and just start a list of them.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's see if we have any last questions. Dan is asking, do we need to give BombBomb a code in order to get the RE/MAX discount? You can just mention you're with RE/MAX. I'm sure they go through some verification process, but that's good. Keisha says, great info, Brad. So that's awesome. Thanks for your feedback. And last call for questions, everyone. And then Brad, I'll let you go ahead and take us to the finish line. Anything else you want to share with all of these RE/MAXers that joined us?
Yeah, you know, you guys are awesome. I mean, you guys are the very best, and I'm so thankful to be a part of this network. I really am. What I would say is recognize that you are in a lead position in this market. I mean, whatever market you're in, you have the tools, the know-how, you have the strength of brand behind you to come out of this in a really strong position. But you have to embrace it. You have to go get it, right? You can't sit back and wait for the doors to open and then get to work. You have to get to work now. Begin your communications, start engaging in those relationships so that when the business does open, you aren't starting from that point. That's what the part-timers are doing, honestly. I mean, that's what there are so many agents that are going to just kind of shut their business down and say, well, I'll just wait till things open up again. We can't do that. If we're going to lead the charge here, we need to be working right now. And please, please remember, the vast majority, I mean, I would say realistically, 80% of what we need to be doing to be successful doesn't immediately have to do with buying buying homes or listing properties, right? It has to do with developing the relationships, creating the toolbox, and creating the opportunities to help people buy and sell real estate. So all of those things we can be doing now.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And one last time, I'm going to share Brad's contact information. Please keep him in mind for referrals in the Denver area. I'm sure he would gladly accept those. And I can't thank you enough, Brad. It's been a fantastic session, and I can see there's a lot of good feedback. I'm getting text messages while we're on this session, but thank you so, so much. I'm glad that you and your family are doing well. And I hope to see you at R4 or Broker Owner Conference or something. I hope we get back to that in the near future.
I will be there. Thanks, Michelle. And thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Go RE/MAX.